Joshua. You're all welcome to the session today. So today's session will be very interesting and we'll be diving into the world of data and professionals that make use of data to take decisions. We'll look at the data analyst role, the HR analyst role, and the financial analyst role. And these are three very strategic positions in any organization. While we look into these roles, we'd also dissect the roles and try to understand the strategic importance of these positions in any organizations across the globe. All right. One last thing before we get started. My name is Adeza, and I'll do a more elaborate introduction, but I'm joining you from Alberta in Canada, and I would love to know where you are joining us from as well. So just type that into the chat. If you're joining us from Lagos, Nigeria, from Accra, Ghana, from Manchester in the UK, from Ontario in Canada, just type into the chat. Let's know where you are joining us from. Mary from Kenya, you're welcome. Chibu from Lagos, you're welcome. Fidel is joining from the UK, fantastic. Northern Ireland, the UK, absolutely brilliant. Okay, now we're going to dive into the main meat of our session, and this is the most amazing part of holding sessions like this. You gather people from across the globe, and you all get to interact at the comfort of your homes or wherever you are at this point in time. Now, our session today would be very interactive, and I would also want you to participate, ask questions, and let's get to interact. I would call you up to unmute yourselves at some point, all right? And I would like some volunteers based on certain questions that I'll be asking. Okay, Amechi from Lagos, Nigeria, absolutely brilliant. So let's dive into our session for today. Okay. So which career path is right for you? That's what we'll start with, looking at the three career paths for today: the data analyst, the financial analyst, and the HR analyst. But first of all, who is Tenalytics? Let's start from there. We are an educational technology company focused on helping people of the Black community to transition into tech. Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora, irrespective of where you are, to get into the tech ecosystem in different areas as a data analyst, as a business analyst, as a HR analyst, financial analyst, and so on and so forth across multiple areas within the tech ecosystem. And over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people transition from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. But how was that even possible? And I'll be sharing some of those insights with you today and what you need to do to also make that transition, especially when you have Tenalytics, supporting you during that journey. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is on the quality and the experience of the facilitators that we bring to bear. We bring the best of the best in the industry to help you kickstart your journey into the tech ecosystem. And for me, for those of you joining us for the first time, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a data analytics expert, and I'm also the founder of Tenalytics. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK, in the US, and I've also worked for some of the biggest organizations, most especially in the energy sector, as a data analyst across sub-Saharan Africa. My major role while I worked as a data analyst and a data scientist was to help organizations understand the data that they have and to take data-driven decisions. But in the year 2020, we set up Tenalytics as a platform to help other people transition and get into the tech ecosystem, just like I had done over the last few years. And like I mentioned earlier, we've been able to help over 2,000 people navigate that space. I currently reside in Alberta, Canada. I've lived in the UK, I've worked in the US, and I'll be bringing that wealth of experience so that irrespective of where you are, what are the nuances across different regions and what you need to take into consideration if you're trying to transition as well. Personally, I've trained well over 8,500 people across multiple cadres, from entry level to mid-level managers to CEOs, board members, and so on and so forth. Okay, what would we be looking at today? Today, we'll dive into the world of data and would first of all understand the different career paths when you look at data analytics, HR analytics, and financial analytics. And then what skills do you need to get started? Because this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Okay, they start by learning the wrong things. So I'll be sharing with you the key skills that you need to learn for you to get started. And lastly, I would also be introducing you to our upcoming cohort starting on the 4th of May, 2024, and share some success stories with you, because you want to get started, you want to dive into the tech ecosystem, but you want to see other people that have done it ahead of you. And you can learn from their story, learn from their own journey, and get one or two things that will help you get started. One of the major confusions that people have, I had this confusion as well about 10 years ago when I was starting my journey. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, so I did not study anything tech, nothing computer science. I studied industrial chemistry, fresh out of the university. My first job was as a management consultant working in the financial services sector. All right. So I had done nothing related to tech. And I also wanted to transition because I could see where the world was going, and the world was headed towards the tech ecosystem, those that know how to use data to drive decisions. So I wanted to become a data analyst. But then I struggled simply because I did not know how to start. I did not know what to learn. And in the process of me learning, I learned so many things. Some of them were useful, most of them were useless. And I'll give you a typical example. As a data analyst back in the days, I learned how to use MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. And for anybody who knows what MongoDB is, you would agree with me that as a data analyst, it is useless. I have never, ever had to use MongoDB to carry out any task in all the organizations I have worked in over the last 10 years. So you can imagine I would have channeled that time into something more productive, getting my journey started. So I wasted a lot of time because I didn't know how to start. And you would also have that confusion as well for those of you that are starting newly. When it comes to the tech ecosystem, it's difficult to know what to choose and how to start because there are so many paths to follow. But today we are streamlining into 3 key career paths. The first one is the data analyst career path, financial analyst, and then the HR analyst. All these 3 career paths requires you to make use of data to take decisions. And I'll break them down so you understand what they do on a day-to-day. But before we go into that, I want to ask you, and I want you to type your answers into the chat. Which of these career paths are you interested in? Data analyst, financial analyst, HR analyst. Just type into the chat and I would love to see your responses. Okay, data analyst, data analytics, HR, financial. Beautiful. Data, HR, financial, data, financial. Fantastic. Brilliant. Data and financial. That's absolutely phenomenal. We all want to be everything if possible. Okay, that's absolutely amazing. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to break the different roles down for you. And just like so many of you want to transition into data, being a data analyst or being a financial analyst or being a HR analyst, one of the things I'll tell you first of all is you don't need to have any prior experience. You don't need to have any degree related to tech. Those are 2 major misconceptions that people always have. These are skill-based career path, skill-based. And anything that is skill-based, it means you can learn those skills and transition into the space. Okay, which I did. I did it myself personally, and I've helped so many other people do the same. All right. And I'll be sharing some of the stories, just a few of them, to get our session started. Some of the people that we have been able to meet, we call it the Minting Academy. We meet data analysts, we meet financial analysts, we meet HR analysts. All right. Because it always seems impossible. I've been a banker for 10 years. How do I become a data analyst? I've worked in supply chain. How do I become a financial analyst? I've always done HR, maybe employee relations. How do I become a HR analyst? People always ask these questions, and it always seems impossible until you see people that have done the things you are also trying to do. So I'll share maybe 2-3 stories of people that have also made the switch. They joined a session like this. They started their journey, and then today they have gotten jobs and working in that career path that they have chosen. And I'll start with these 3 fantastic individuals. All right. Muhyiddin, Oluwadamilare, and Benga. Now, Muhyiddin's story is very interesting, and the reason is simple. A lot of people always imagine what it feels like to work remotely from your respective location, and you work for companies across the globe. Muhyiddin joined our program sometime in August 2023, joined our data analytics program, and he completed his program and his internship by December. So by December, he was done with his program with us, and he landed a job in February this year. So roughly about 2 months after he completed his program, he landed a job working for a company in the UK called BBX, helping them get customers, identify potential clients using data. He lives in Lagos, Nigeria. He works for this company in the UK, and he works remotely. And just like Muhyiddin, so many other people have started this journey. Muhyiddin had never done anything related to data, had never done anything related to tech before he came to us. And we worked with him, first of all, equipping him with the skills. And then you getting the job goes beyond the skills. And I'll talk a little bit more on that aspect. How did Muhyiddin get this job? His LinkedIn profile, his CV, his portfolio, and most importantly, we prepared him for his interview. So he had a series of interviews. We worked with him, and he was able to land this job, working in Nigeria, earning in pounds, and spending in naira. And you know the financial implication of that for those of you living in Nigeria. That's the dream life. Okay. I've also kept links to listen to what Muhyiddin has to say about his journey. All right. And I'll go to Oluwadamilare. Oluwadamilare joined us sometime last year, early last year, 2023, completed his program with us. He moved to the UK to do his master's. But just like so many people, you get to find out that your master's would never equip you to get a job in the real world where you need to solve problems. The master's program is highly theoretical. I've experienced it myself personally. So I'm telling you firsthand from a position of, having experienced it. So Damilare wanted more because he knew very early that I'm not going to get what I need from my master's. I need to get the skills to get a job. He came to us. We trained him as a data analyst. He had multiple levels of interviews, and was able to land a job as a sustainability data analyst in the UK. We're going to listen to Oluwadamilare shortly, and you get to hear what he has to say about his journey. And the reason is simple. It's so that you can also learn from these people's journey. And you get to realize that I don't need to have experience. I don't need to have studied anything tech to transition as well. Benga's story is also very interesting because Benga, for 2 years, he was in Poland, and he struggled to get a job in Poland. For 2 years, you can imagine how daunting and how difficult that must have been. He came to us. joined our data analytics program. We worked with him. I personally prepared Benga for multiple interviews. And today, Benga works as a business data analyst for a company in Poland. And in Benga's words, that was the job of his dream. He works remotely in Poland. He doesn't have to go to the office, and his salary is fantastic. Okay, now let's listen to either Oluwadamilare or Benga. I want us to move fast with our session today so that we are done in the next 1.5 or 2 hours. And I also want to engage you. I want you to ask questions so I can guide you on selecting the right career path. Okay, so we're going to listen to Oluwadamilare. And if we have more time, we listen to Benga. Okay, and I want you to pay attention and listen to their story on how they were able to transition. Benga, Oluwadamilare's job is very recent. This is Oluwadamilare over here. He recently got this job last month in the month of March. So it's a very, very recent role. So I think, it will be more instructive to listen to somebody who recently just got this job on the 27th of March. He sent me this email. Hello, Adaiza. Hope this email finds you well. I'm super excited and I want to thank the entire Analytics employability team. I successfully landed a role as a sustainability data analyst for a company in the UK. So this is very, very recent. So let's listen to Oluwadamilare and let's get to hear his story on how he was able to transition. Okay, and then I'll come back, walk you through the other aspects of what we have for today. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy listening to Damilare. The material will be shared with you at the end of the session as well. So you have access to the slides. You can click on the links, you can listen and enjoy all these amazing people. So I'm just going to click on the link. Okay, so it's taking me to a different browser. So what I'll do is I'll share. Just give me 1 second. I'll share this so you can see Damilare. Okay, so I'm going to play the first 3 seconds and pause. And I want you to tell me if you can hear Damilare, and then I'll continue. So if you can hear Damilare when I play, just type in yes into the chat, and then I'll continue playing, okay?
Hi everyone, my name is Damilare. Today I want to quickly share my...
All right, so type a yes if you could hear Damilare speak. Okay, brilliant, fantastic. So let's go ahead and listen to Damilare. It's a 3-minute video, so not too long, and I'm sure we can spare some time to listen to this amazing professional. So let's listen.
Hi everyone, my name is Damilare. Today I want to quickly share my testimony of how I was able to transition into tech, all with the help of Analytics. So it happened over a year ago when I saw a post on Twitter, now X, that talks about how to learn a new tech skill. I followed the post and landed on a page where I got to discover Analytics for the very first time. There I saw a list of skills that you could learn, but the one that resonated with me the most was data analysis. So I registered for the masterclass, I attended, and I was blown away by what was taught at the masterclass. And it didn't take me too long to make my decision of registering for the data analysis course with Analytics, and the rest, like they say, is history. So for me, it's been an amazing journey learning with Analytics, because I've been able to learn the intricacies of data analysis, all with the help of Analytics, putting together seasoned instructors that will take you from zero or whatever level you are to becoming a master at any tech skill that you decide to learn with them. Also with Analytics, I've been able to learn how to use tools like Microsoft Excel, BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, and even SQL to analyze data in a more robust way, and also give actionable insights and recommendations into my findings after my analysis. And beyond the learning, Analytics have put together awesome mentorship sessions that has helped me personally to position myself out there for jobs, and also helped me to optimize my LinkedIn page and profile, where recruiters now reach out to me for jobs as well. So another thing is, Analytics have been super helpful when it comes to interview preparation. They've been able to prepare me for several interviews just to put me in the best place when it comes to interviewing for jobs out there. So Analytics have been super helpful, and this is something that I don't think is common out there, where you see people teach you these tech skills and still stick with you until you're able to land a very good job. And right now, I can confidently tell you that I am a certified data analyst, and I've been able to land a very, very good job with awesome benefits, all thanks to Analytics. So I believe now is the best moment for me to say a huge thank you to Analytics for helping me achieve my dreams of transitioning into tech. Because if not for Analytics, I don't know where I would have been. So I want to say a very, very big thank you to Analytics for helping me achieve my dreams. To wrap up, if you're looking into learning any tech skill, don't look too far. Analytics is the best place to be. Why? Because you've heard my testimony, and there are several other testimonies out there as well. So if you're looking into learning any tech skill, just register with Analytics today. Come on, come all, refer your friends, refer your family members who are looking into transitioning into tech as well, because what Analytics offer is super, super great than what you can see out there. So I recommend Analytics to you and your family members today. Just go ahead and take massive action. Register with Analytics and you won't regret doing that. You won't be disappointed at all, guys. So that's it from me today. I want to wish you all the best and I hope to see you all at the top because that's where I'm going to be myself. So bye for now, guys, and cheers.
Okay, so that's Damilare. And again, like I mentioned, there's so many other professionals. I'm not going to bore you with too many videos, but I want you to, for those of you that listened actively, all right, just type into the chat, what do you think helped Damilare to get this job? From what he said, okay, he said a lot of things, but what do you think helped him get this job? From what you heard Damilare say, just type in the chat if you heard him and you listened actively. I'm still going to recap on all those things and how you can also do the same. But let me hear from you first of all. What do you think helped Damilare to land this job? Soft skills. Thanks a lot, Alexander. Does anybody want to dissect the soft skills a little bit more? Soft skills is very broad, but he was specific to some extent on what he was able to do and the role. Proper guidance. Thanks for that, Techno CK6. I'd like to hear from two more people and then we'd move on. His commitment, coaching and detailed training. Fantastic, Umar. Thanks for that. Dedication, professional help, follow the class judiciously, determination, interview. Brilliant, Franca. I love dedication. I love interview. I love soft skills. Okay. And I'll talk about that as we move on. It's the same story across every other person you see. Muhyiddin, Benga, Damilare, and I'll show you their LinkedIn profile so that you get to understand what people like this have to actually do, how we have prepared them to actually do the things they do to help them land the job. All right. And you have more people. You have Chika, who was also a student in the UK. Today, Chika joined our financial analytics program, and he's a financial analyst working in the UK. You have Solomon, who joined. Solomon is an engineering graduate. Today, he's a financial analyst with an oil and gas company in Nigeria. Same with Grace. You have Akintayo, who is currently a CFO working for a company in Nigeria after joining our financial analytics program. All right. And he was very particular again about his multiple interview preparation sessions with one of our facilitators, whose name is Nene. Nene worked with him during his interviews to land this job as a CFO. The salary was absolutely fantastic because he shared it with me. You would never believe somebody in Nigeria could earn that much. Of course, it's a very senior role as a CFO, so you'd expect it comes with all those fantastic benefits. Some of the HR people we have as well that has also been able to land jobs. Victor landed his first role while he was still in Lagos, Nigeria, working for a company in the US as a people operations analyst after completing our HR analytics program. Today, he's moved from that to a senior HR business partner role with a bigger organization with better pay and so on. You have Sonia. Sonia landed her first job as a HR analyst with British American Tobacco in the UK after completing our HR analytics program. You have Maureen. Maureen works with TELUS. And for anybody in Canada, you know TELUS. TELUS is one of the largest telecommunications company My internet modem is from TELUS. All right. She works with them as a HR data analyst after completing our HR analytics program. You have Olajide, who works with Stanbic IBTC as a HR analyst after completing our HR analytics program. And there's so many other people. And there is a full list to the testimonials that I've also attached to this slide. You would have access to it. All right, all you need to do is click on the link. It takes you to our YouTube page, and you can get to listen to these amazing, amazing professionals. The lady on the screen here, her name is Ikmat. Ikmat joined us sometime last year, and even while on the program, she has started receiving offers. She was a master's student in the UK. She was out of work for 2 years as a stay-at-home mom because she needed to take care of her kid. She joined our data analytics program. Today, she works with the NHS as a data analyst with full visa sponsorship. All right. And for those in the UK, you'd understand when a job comes with full visa sponsorship, you have a certificate of, COS, a certificate of sponsorship that you use to apply for your skilled worker visa to remain in the country. And I'll share Ikmat's story as well as we move on. All right. Now, let's dive into the main roles. How did Muhyiddin, how did Benga, how did Oluwadamilare become data analysts? So we're going to look at the data analyst role. Who is a data analyst and what do they do? All right. And I'll tell you one thing for free. You see all those guys that got the jobs and every other person that will get the job. The most important reason why they get jobs goes far beyond the technical skill. You can be the best in Excel. If you listen to Damilare, he said he learned Excel, he learned Tableau, he learned Power BI, and even SQL, structured query language. But getting a job goes far beyond that. You need to do more because there are so many people that can use Excel even better than you, that can use Tableau even better than you. So what stands you out from the competition? And I'll talk about that. So we call it the T+S. T for technical. The technical skills you need to have is 50%, while the soft skills that somebody mentioned that you need to have is another 50%. If you have all the technical skills in the world, without the soft skills, you would never get that job. And vice versa. If you have the soft skills, you don't have the technical skills, your application process would fall flat on its face. So how do you get the two and combine that to eventually land the job? But let's look at the data analyst role first of all. Who is a data analyst? Now, a data analyst, simply put, is any professional that can make sense of the data a company generates. Because data in itself is useless. Just like crude oil that you drill from the ground is also useless. Crude oil only becomes useful when you refine. Data only becomes useful when you analyze. All right, every organization generates data, but how does the data become useful? And that's where the data analyst comes into play. All right, every data analyst would help organizations to answer questions. What happened? What happened is one of the major questions every company wants to answer. Last year, 2023, we want to know what happened so that we can take lessons from what happened to drive into 2024. So let's imagine Tenalytics as a company, all right? The data analyst would take data from what happened last year, 2023, and would draw a chart that looks like this. You have January, you have February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Okay. Now, January, let's say we had 1,000 customers. February, we had 1.5K customers. Right? March, we had let's say another 1K. April, we had 1K. May, we had 1K. June, we had 4K. July, we had 7K. Okay. August, we had 1K. September, 1K. October, 1K. November, let's say we had 3K. And then December, we had 8K. Now, looking at this from January, this is 2023, okay? So let's put that into perspective. Looking at what happened from January to December last year, 2023, this is what happened, okay? So the data analyst would take customer data from last year, analyze this customer data using any tool they decide to use, like Excel, Power BI, and so on and so forth, and come up with a chart, a visual that looks like this. Now, this is what happened in 2023. When you see this, that this is what happened, right? What questions would you ask? Imagine that you were in a meeting, you were in a session where somebody is presenting this, that this is what happened in the company in 2023. In January, we had 1,000 customers. In June and July, we had 4,000, 7,000 customers. And in December, we had 8,000 customers. Okay? What question would you ask if you were in this meeting? Just type the question in the chat. Let me get to find out. What question would you ask? Looking at this, these are the customers a company were able to generate or a company were able to acquire. Okay? Tell me in the chat, what questions would you ask? Why did the numbers vary? Very good. That's one. Let's hear from other people. When you look at this, what do you ask? Why did this happen? Fantastic, Mary. I have very smart people in my session. Why did this happen? What is responsible for the fluctuations? Beautiful. Why the surge in some particular month? Kende, thank you very much. Why? Brilliant. This is what happened. And whenever you know what happened, the next thing you want to dive into is, why did it happen? Why the surge or why the drop? Why do we have 4,000 in June, 7,000 in July, when the average between January to May has been 1,000? Why do we have a surge? Just like Kehinde said, or just like Mary said, why did it happen? Why do we have a surge in June, July, and another surge in December? The data analyst would go back to the data to dive a little bit deeper to answer the question, why did it happen? Why did it happen? Just like you have asked, and that's the role of the data analyst. Nobody else would come tell you why it happened. The data analyst would have to tie these surges, like you mentioned, the increase, the decrease, tie it to specific events. Did we do more promotions? Did we have more sales in June or July and in December? Did we have more discounts? What exactly did we do? Because when you know why something happened, you can replicate that success. All right, you can replicate it in 2024. If June and July, we deployed a different strategy and these gave us more customers. In December, we deployed that same strategy and this also gave us an increase. We know that we can deploy similar strategies in 2024. So the data analyst is that professional that takes data and helps a company answer these two questions. What happened? And why did it happen? Simply put, all right? So a data analyst is responsible for analyzing and interpreting data because, like I said, data is useless in its raw form until somebody can analyze that data and get information or insights out of the data. So the data analyst answers 2 questions. And let me see if you have been listening to me today. I said the data analyst answers 2 questions. Who remembers the questions the data analyst answers in any organization? If you remember, type it into the chat. Type it into the chat. If you remember the questions, the data and why and what. Beautiful. Why and what. Never forget this. What and why. What happened and why did it happen? Brilliant. You are all in the spirit today. So what happened and why did it happen? 2 key questions the data analyst would answer. What happened and why did it happen? And you can relate this to what? They are a part of analytics. And answering the question, what happened, is called descriptive analytics. And answering the question, why did it happen, is called diagnostic analytics. Every data analysis starts from descriptive. Number 1, what happened? Descriptive analytics. You are describing the data. You see that chart that I drew? You are describing the data showing what happened, all right? When you now want to find out, you now see variations here and there, increase, decrease, declines, and so on. Why is it so? Why do we have increases? Why do we have declines here and there? You are diving deeper to diagnose and find out, all right, why that thing happened. And you move to the next level of analytics called diagnostic analytics. So every data analyst does descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics, answering the question, what happened and why did it happen? And we're going to put it into practice right now. And I want somebody to volunteer. If you want to volunteer putting it into practice, please let me know. Just raise your hand. I'll call you up. I need somebody that I can engage. You'll mute yourself and we ask questions, and I would love you to respond. Okay? It's a very simple task. If you are interested, let's keep it interactive. Okay, let me, Vincent Kofi. So Vincent, I've asked you to unmute yourself. So let me know if you can hear me, Vincent. Just say hello.
Hello.
All right, brilliant.
Hello.
So Vincent, yes, Vincent, I can hear you. Are we good, Vincent? Can we move on?
Okay. Yes, please. Let's start. I can hear you loud and clear.
Great, Vincent. Now, Vincent, we work for a company, okay? Imagine that we work for a travel company, and this travel company has collected data from its customers. The travel company has asked questions, asking the customers to tell them when they would want to travel, where they would want to travel to, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, if you look at my screen, you would see something that says time of travel, all right? January equals 1 and December equals 2, all right? You would also see the destination of where customers would like to travel to, okay? Now, this is not the entire data.
Okay.
This is just a snapshot of the data itself. But I want you to answer this question. Where will your customers like to travel to? Based on the data you can see, on the face value of these data, where do you think the customers would like to travel to?
Berlin.
Okay, so
Berlin.
Vincent says Berlin, all right? So we're going to see if Vincent is correct or if Vincent is wrong. Now, Vincent, I want you to also tell us, when will the customers like to travel? When during the month? Is it in January? Is it in July? Is it in December? When will the customers love to travel? What do you think?
Some part of my data is missing. I can't see the date. I can't see the dates on my screen.
Yeah, so you'd see
I cannot see the screen.
1 to 12. 1 is for this, 1 is for January, 12 is for December. So you see the numbers 2, 3, 4, and so on. Can you see that now, Vincent?
No, my screen is halfway.
Okay.
I can't see the full screen.
That's fine, Vincent. Let me call upon somebody else. Okay. I'll call upon Adebowale. So Adebowale, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Let's hear from you.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Adebowale. So tell us, when during the year do you think people would like to travel? Tell us.
Okay, looking at the data we have here, I think most of the months I have here is November. So I would go with November, just judging from the data I have here.
Okay.
You get
Right.
So if you look at it, then if I don't know if I scroll downwards, I will see other months are appearing more frequently. But by looking at it, as someone who just wants to work with the spreadsheet, I would just say November.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for that, Adebowale. But stay on. Don't mute yourself. Okay. I think you've muted, but I'll just. Okay, you're still on mute. Brilliant. Now, and this is why the data analyst is so important. Adebowale, you're wrong, and it's not your fault. Vincent was also wrong, and it's also not his fault. Data comes in volumes. And as a human being, you can't see beyond a specific level of the data when you look at it with your 2 eyes, all right? Even if I give you the entire data and I scrolled up and scrolled up and scrolled up, it will be impossible for you to make sense of that data. And that's why the data analyst is so important. The data analyst will take this data and transform the data into something that is easier to view, easier to visualize, so you can take decisions. All right. So Adebowale, I'm asking you those 2 questions again, based on what you can see. When will the customers love to travel?
Okay, I think now I can have a visual representation of this information. I think Paris has the highest one. I can see 169 for Paris. Yes. Yes,
okay.
This makes sense. This is meaningful. This is very good.
So when it comes to the month, here from January to December, when will the customers love to travel? I think Adebowale is muted.
Oh, I'm here. I said Paris. It is Paris.
Yeah, that is where they would like to travel. But when will they like to go? Yes.
Okay, let me see. Month, the highest one, 12. That's December.
That's
I can see
December.
84 for December.
Correct. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Adebowale. You've been so helpful. And this is the reason why the data analyst is important. So for this travel company, they have been assuming, and everybody has come up with their own ideas. Oh, I think our customers would like to travel in November. I think they would like to travel in January. I think they would like to travel in March. And I think their preferred destination is Seychelles. But these are assumptions. And most of the time, as an analyst, you'd realize that assumptions are usually wrong. And that's why you need data to take decisions. So the data analyst will take that data that seems confusing, which the data you cannot analyze with your 2 eyes, and analyze that data, come up with a visualization that looks like this, where you can easily see, take decisions. For our next travel packages, we want to prepare travel for Paris, because this is where our customers would love to go to. And we're not just going to prepare for Paris in any month. We're going to prepare for Paris in the month of December, because that's where we have the highest number of customers who would like to go to that location, followed by July. You see that July also has a peak as well, and then you have December having the highest number. And this is the role of the data analyst. They take data that looks very confusing, Data that, like I said, is useless if you cannot analyze. They take that data, analyze the data, and come up with visualizations that is easy for you to use to take decisions. All right? So remember this. A data analyst answers 2 questions in any company using data. What happened and why it happened. Descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics. And they take data, make the data look like this. You look at this, and anybody, if you've seen data before, you don't even know what went behind the creation of this. You can take your decisions based on what you can see, because it is visually appealing and anybody can make sense of it. So how do you learn the skills to analyze data? How do you learn the skills to refine data to get information? How do you refine data to get insights so that this company can take a decision to say that we're going to prepare packages in December and also for Paris? And this is where you need certain level of skills. As a data analyst, you must have problem-solving skills. You can't do without it. Okay, problem solving is absolutely critical to you becoming a data analyst, because this helps you, first of all, identify that there is a problem. Do I have the data to solve the problem? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, I take that data and I start solving the problem. If the answer is no, I need to find a way of getting that data. All right? Problem solving also entails how you approach different types of problems. How do you break the problems into multiple parts and solve each part as a small part of the problem until you solve the entire problem, using different frameworks and techniques for root cause analysis and so on and so forth. So you must understand problem solving, and then you move into Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is the foundation of data analytics. You use Excel to build that type of visual I just showed you. Use Excel, you take your data, analyze the data, summarize the data, and you can tell what the company needs to do from that data set. Once you know how to use Excel, you move into what? SQL, structured query language. Every organization would have their data in a database. A database is like a store where you store your bags, you store your shoes, and all of those things. The database stores data. So how do I get the data out of that store or out of that database? And that's where I need structured query language. That's the language that the database understands. So I need to speak the language to that database to extract my data. And that's where SQL comes in, structured query language. For anybody who's ever going to work with data, you can't do that without the understanding of SQL. Very, very important. Then you move to Microsoft Power BI. This visual I showed you was built using Microsoft Power BI. The beauty of Power BI is that you can automate your reports. So if you need to present reports every single week, you don't have to build that report every single week. You build it once using Microsoft Power BI, and you can always update by just getting new data and putting it somewhere. So you create visually appealing dashboards like the one I just showed you, and you're able to analyze your data, automate the process, and it's a lot seamless for you as a data analyst. You then move to Tableau. Okay, you move to Tableau. Tableau is also a data visualization tool, just like Power BI. But the beauty of learning the two is some organizations have a preference for Tableau, some have a preference for Power BI. So rather than searching for jobs where they require Tableau or they require Power BI, you have the two. So it doesn't matter what they want, you are there. You can apply. You can take that job because you understand Power BI, you understand Tableau. Then you move to data storytelling. Data storytelling is the art of taking data, analyzing that data, and telling a story from that data. Why do you need to tell a story? When you create a dashboard that looks like this, you are not the owner of the company. You work for that company. So people need to take the decision to say that we can't just go to any location. We have to go to Paris. So you have to tell a story around that. You have to tell a story to the people that will take the decision that December would be the preferred and the best month for us to prepare for that travel for our customers. And that's the art of communicating in a way that is easy for people that don't have the technical understanding to understand what you are saying and take a decision based on what you have presented. All right, that's what data storing is all about. Then you learn ChatGPT for analytics. ChatGPT today is a skill that's prompt engineering, knowing how to write the correct prompts into ChatGPT to get the right answers that will help you optimize your work. That's one of the most important skills you can get today in any tech-related area. ChatGPT for analytics. And like I always tell people, which we teach in our program, there are two types of ChatGPT today, broadly. You have the 3.5, which is free, and you have the 4.0, which is paid, which in my opinion is about $20 per month, not too expensive. But let me tell you the beauty of using the paid version. If you've never used the paid version of ChatGPT, you are missing out on a whole lot. In fact, the day you start using the paid version, you would never go back to the free version. You would never go back because of the power you have in 4.0. And I wished ChatGPT existed when I just started out as a data analyst. My life would have been a lot seamless and a lot easier because you can use ChatGPT to do most of the work that you have to do. All right. And these are some of the skills: knowing the right prompts, tailoring your CV. Okay. Using the 4.0, you want to tailor your CV. All you need to do is get the job you want to apply to. You copy that job requirement, paste it on ChatGPT, take your CV, upload. You can upload using 4.0. Upload your CV as a Word document, as a PDF, or ChatGPT, and type in certain prompts into ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will create a new CV for you based on that job you want to apply to. And you do this in maybe 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds, and you are done. All right. And these are the things we walk our participants through. So when you see people getting jobs, working remotely from Nigeria for companies in the UK, yes, they know the tools, they know all these things from number 1 to number 8, but that's not all you have to do. There are a lot more that goes in the background that helps you secure that job. Once you understand ChatGPT, you move into Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric is a new technology recently launched last year by Microsoft, and it helps you collaborate. So if Adebowale is somewhere in Nigeria, Vincent is somewhere in Northern Ireland, maybe in Belfast, for example, you have Mary somewhere in the UAE, in Dubai. We can work together on certain type of project on a dashboard using Power BI inside Microsoft Fabric. I can build a data warehouse or a data lake, and then Vincent and Adebowale can get data from that data lake inside Microsoft Fabric. So it's a platform where you can do so many things and collaborate at the same time. So organizations are transitioning into Microsoft Fabric. And once they see people that have this skill, they latch onto you and they want to get you into their companies. All right. So how long does it take you to learn the skills and transition? 4 months. The learning timeline, 3 months for project-based classes. Project-based, write it somewhere. Project-based classes for 3 months. And I'll show you practically what that means. Why your learning must be project-based. And if it is not, you will struggle to get a job, because those projects are the things that would culminate into your work experience at the end of the day. And that's what you put in your portfolio eventually. All right. And then you have to intern. You go through an internship for 1 month, and that constitutes the 4-month learning journey. Why is the internship important? It's important because this is where you get to work with other professionals and you work on projects that, in a way, that you would in the real world. So you would have meetings with your, contemporaries. You would have meetings with me where I'll give you feedback on what you've done and so on and so forth. And then you continue with the rest of the task. And these are the things that when you get into an interview, no interviewer would ask you any other question that is irrelevant to the role. They'll ask you questions like, oh, tell me about a time when you have used analytics, like using Power BI to solve a problem. So you want to talk from a position where you have done that on a real world problem. Okay, so you talk about that project you worked on. I've been on interview panels and I can tell easily when you don't have experience. And let me tell you one example to identify somebody with very, very low level of experience. When I ask you a question or tell me about a time you have used analytics like Power BI, Excel to solve a problem, and you start by telling me that, oh, when I was working on a project for working for a bank, in the banking industry, I was able to help the bank to create a dashboard to summarize their data. Okay, good, beautiful. But then I ask you another question again. Oh, maybe on your CV, I've seen that you have done something using Tableau. Can you tell me a little bit about the project where you had to use Tableau and what exactly did you do on that project? You now go back to say, oh, while I was working in the banking industry, you go back to that same project you talked about earlier. The moment you do that, it's a clear sign that you have very low level of experience and that knocks you off immediately. And that's why project-based learning is very, very important. And I'll show you how to get project-based learning with us at Analytics. Your classes are Saturdays where you have your live classes. You have a class with somebody like myself on a live session like this, teaching you, we interact the same way Adebowale unmuted himself to, talk, we get to interact, and I show you, we solve problems and we solve case studies practically. Okay, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in the UK, you are in Nigeria, similar time zones, you have a class that fits your time zone, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time. And if you are in the US, you are in Canada, similar time zone, you have a class that fits your time zone as well. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Saturdays. So it doesn't matter where you are across the globe. There is a class that fits your time zone. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. Your class is self-paced. So on Sundays, you get your bite-sized videos. We call them Watch Me Do It videos. So you get a video from myself, a video I have created. You get to learn from that video, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 7 minutes video. You watch those videos on Sundays at your own convenience. Some people, they spread the videos across the week. They start on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they are done. All right? Ahead of the next class on Saturday where you get to work on a real world project. And that's how the class is structured. So it is blended. It's a blended learning approach where you come to your live class on Saturdays and on Sundays, you have your Watch Me Do It videos. So if you ever want to become a data analyst, take a screenshot of what you have on my screen from number 1 to number 8. When it comes to the technical skills that you need to have, these are the technical skills that you need to have. I'll come to the soft skills eventually. Okay, somebody's saying they can't hear me anymore. Please, is Microsoft Fabric free? Absolutely. Microsoft Fabric is free to use. Okay, but if you want to use on an enterprise scale whereby you want to collaborate with somebody in the US, you are maybe in Ghana or you're in the UK or you're in Dubai, there are certain levels of things that you would like to do that you would have to pay for. But using it to do the things, you want to create a data lake, we use it in-house at Analytics. And for most of the things we use it for, we don't have to pay for it. Okay, so you download it, you install Microsoft Fabric. Most of the things you do is on the cloud in itself. So you're not downloading You're not installing, an application itself. You're more or less subscribing, not installing. I beg your pardon. Okay. All right. Sorry, excuse me. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm sure you hear that from my voice. So these are the key aspects that you must learn. And as a data analyst, your role is very high in demand. And that's why data analysts are paid fantastically well across the globe. In the UK, for example, you're earning well over £40,000 on the average per annum. In the US, you are earning about $84,000, and in Canada, about 64,000 Canadian dollars on the average per annum. Now, without the data analyst in any organization, you would not know what happened and why that thing happened. And if you don't know what happened, you don't know what happens in your organization, you don't know why it happens, you cannot take informed decision. And you keep on taking decisions based on your gut feeling. And I tell you, as a data analyst over the years, taking decisions based on your gut feeling is one of the worst things you can ever do, because you are most of the time going to be wrong when you take decisions based on your gut feeling. And that's why the data analyst is very important and strategic in any organization. Okay. Now, I've explained the data analyst extensively because the data analyst or data analytics is a derivative, or I beg your pardon, the financial analyst is a derivative of the data analytics role. And I'll explain what that means to you. Now, as a data analyst, you can work with sales data of the company. You can work with customer data and data across different parts of the organization. But as a financial analyst, you are simply a data analyst who analyzes financial data. Simply put, a financial analyst is a data analyst that focuses on financial data instead of all the data available in the organization. Okay, so a financial analyst will take the financial data, analyze that data to help the company take investment decisions, to also evaluate the company's performance, and to forecast financial trends of the organization. Based on what has happened in Q1 2024, we are likely going to have a revenue shortfall in Q2, Q3, and Q4. So the financial analyst would forecast those trends. What would our revenue look like based on what we have in Q1? What would our costs look like based on what we have? Look at other financial ratios to help determine the performance of the organization. So the financial analyst, simply put, is a data analyst that focuses on financial related data. So you are niched into that area. You are an expert on understanding the financial implication of doing this. You are looking at cost-benefit analysis. You are looking at different ratios. You are building financial models to help tell the company what to do based on different scenarios and so on and so forth. So that's who the financial analyst is. And because the financial analyst is also a data analyst, but just focuses on a specific type of data in the company, you will learn problem solving. You would learn Excel, Power BI, SQL, and then you move into the fundamentals of accounting. Like people always say, accounting is the language of a business, right? So you learn accounting fundamentals, you go to financial analysis where you look at different financial ratios in the company, the profit margin, the gross margin, and so on and so forth. You've learned financial modeling. What's the base case scenario? What's the best case? What's the worst case scenario for a company that we have never even started? Okay, so you model companies, you model their financials to help take decisions if we should start this business or not. You learn about valuation, which is a part of corporate finance. Do we need to invest in this company? Should we buy this company based on different analysis and valuation techniques you would have used based on the company you also want to acquire or invest in. And that's what you'll be doing. Sensitivity and scenario analysis, and of course, ChatGPT for analytics. The timeline is very similar to the data analyst. You'd learn for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. The class structure are the same. Morning, you have classes for those in the UK, those in Africa, West Africa, similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And in the evenings, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you're in the UK, if you're in the US or in Canada. So irrespective of your location, you have a class that fits your schedule. All right. On Sundays, you don't have a live class. Your classes are self-paced. You have the watch me do it videos, just like the data analyst, and you have that blended learning approach. And this gives you the very best. So what this does for you, for those who are slow learners, you have the option and you have the time to catch up on certain things that you couldn't catch up on. And I'll also show you some of the mechanisms we have put in place for the beginner, the person who has never done this before. How do we carry you along? As a financial analyst, your role is also very high in demand across different regions. In the UK, you're earning well over £51,000 per annum on the average. In Canada, about 69,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 86,000 US dollars. Without a financial analyst, you would not know where to invest as a business, as a company. You would not understand the financial health of the organization. And of course, how to structure your finances as a business. I want to ask a question before I move to the HR analyst, which is the last role we are looking for today. All right? We are looking at today, rather. Is there any company, either a startup, a multinational, a commercial organization, a not-for-profit organization that you think does not need a financial analyst? If you think there is no company in the world that would not need a financial analyst, you agree with me, just type in a yes. There is none. Exactly, there is none. None, absolutely, there is none. Every company, even if it's a not-for-profit that is not into the business of making money, you need to manage the funding that you have. You need to manage the contributions, the donations that you get. So how do you do that? The financial analyst is the person that gets that done. Okay, thank you very much. I can see we are all still together. Now let's move to the next role, the HR analyst, which is the last role we'll be looking at today. The HR analyst, just like the data analyst and the financial analyst, the HR analyst does a very, very crucial role, or plays a crucial role in a company. Every company comprises of 3 major parts: the people, the technology, and the processes. These are the 3 major components of a company: people, technology, and processes. Now, who drives the processes or optimizes the processes? The people. Who implements the technology and leverages the technology to drive and grow the business? The people. So looking at a business, the people plays a fundamental role in any organization. All right? And that's why when you take decisions based on that would affect the people, you must take those decisions based on what the data says. What does the data say? Where do we get our best performing employees from? So we can leverage those talent pipelines. Who are the best performing employees? Are they the employees that work from home or that work from the office? So when you tell people that you all need to come back to the office, are you actually taking a decision that will benefit the company or even reduce productivity and performance in that organization? So the HR analyst is that individual, that professional that analyzes people data to help the company take data-driven HR policies and HR strategies. And simply put, the HR analyst is also a data analyst that focuses on people data. And I'll give you a typical example. Attrition is one of the major challenges every company faces. People are leaving the company, and we have to replace them, okay? Now, why are people leaving? Every company embarks on exit hire, okay? Exit interviews, I beg your pardon. When somebody says, oh, I'll be leaving or I'm leaving the company, HR will schedule a session, an exit interview to ask questions. Oh, why are you leaving? You know, multitude of questions. But what do we do with that data? Nothing. Now imagine that you can take that data from numerous exit interviews, and then you also understand, you know when a particular person joined the company and when they left the company. So you can start to analyze the data to find trends and patterns of people that have left the company and identify the factors that have led to people leaving the company. If you know the factor that leads to people leaving the company, rather than carrying out exit interviews, you'd have something called stay interview. Because if I know that Adebowale is going to leave, based on the analysis I've done, Adebowale falls into the category of people that are likely going to leave. And I know the factors that drive people that leaves the company. I can set up a meeting with Adebowale called the stay interview, and I try to let Adebowale know that we are implementing strategies to enable employees enjoy A, B, and C. And once Adebowale knows this, he decides not to leave. Or once Adebowale sees different strategies being implemented that would have initially led him to leave the company, he starts to see those strategies, he decides to stay. So rather than having exit interviews, can we start having stay interviews? And the only way to do this is by what? Analyzing the data. And that's where the HR analyst comes into play. As a HR analyst, because you're also a data analyst, you're also a data analyst, you must understand problem solving, Excel, Power BI, structured query language, just like the data and the financial analyst. Then you go to HR analysis and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle, the different types of metrics you need to measure in a company. For example, you hire people by placing adverts on your website, going on LinkedIn, going on advertising to third-party job boards, Indeed, Read.co, hiring consultants. You use all these different channels to get people into your company. Who performs the best? Can we do a talent pipeline analysis? And these are some of the things you do as a HR analyst. Look at absenteeism. Absenteeism analysis. How does absenteeism affect the company? How does it affect company productivity and so on and so forth? All right. You'll create dashboards, HR dashboarding, collaboration and automation using Excel, using Power BI. You'd learn how to build your case and create action, and also ChatGPT for analytics. The learning timeline is the same, just like the data and the financial analyst. 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. And then the class structure is also the same. Depending on where you are, it doesn't matter. You have a class that fits your schedule. And the HR analyst role is also very, very high in demand across the globe. All right. As a HR analyst per annum in the UK, you're earning about £40,000. In Canada, about 71,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, about 73,000 US dollars. Now, without the HR analysts in a company, imagine how you take decisions, which is what so many organizations do today. You collect and you do an employee engagement survey, and you keep that survey somewhere. You don't analyze it to understand what your employees want and implement those strategies. All right. You take the pulse, you do a pulse survey in your company and you don't analyze that data. So how do you start to take decisions based on the people that favors the people to help drive the organization forward? And that's the role, the strategic importance of the HR analyst in any organization. All right. Now, always remember that the HR analyst, the data analyst, the financial analyst don't work in isolation. They collaborate and work together. Sometimes you'd find them in a team, in a department, in an organization. Sometimes they're not in the same department. They're working in different departments. However, depending on how the organization is structured, but you get to touch base and work together because you're solving a common problem. Okay? And all the programs we offer, like I have listed, they all come with a free internship. And you use the internship to also build your portfolio so that you have a standout CV. Your portfolio must always be on your CV. The link to your portfolio must always be on your CV. And because I want to make our session today very practical, I'll show you the portfolio of people that have been in our program and what they've been able to do. Okay? I'll show you what they've been able to do. I'm just going to click on one of the portfolios and why this is very important. So many people struggle to get jobs. One of the reasons is because these potential employers cannot assess the level of skill that you have before they invite you for an interview. Yes, they've seen your CV, the way the CV is structured, but how do I tell how good you are? What's the quality of the project you have worked on? And that's why a portfolio is very important. So let's check out Victoria's portfolio. Victoria is one of the participants that have gone through our program, Victoria Uchemadu, and she's been able to create this portfolio. It's part of the things you will do, you must do once you're in a 10 analytics program, all right? So let's see what she's done. Now, this portfolio warehouses all the projects you worked on. So when I look at, if I want to hire you, for example, I want to see how good you are with Tableau. Show me something you built using Tableau. How do you show me? Proof of work. Show your workings. How do you show that? Okay, so this is a typical example of what you should have. All right. So you'd see this analysis called Deep Care Hospital ER Visit Analysis, an analysis done for the emergency room in a hospital, helping them understand the areas they can improve, how they can reduce the patient wait time, and how they can increase the customer satisfaction. So Victoria, I beg your pardon, created this particular analysis. And let me show you what the dashboard looks like by clicking here. Now, once you click on the link Victoria has provided, it takes you into her Tableau dashboard. So this was what Victoria created, okay? I can see the number of ER patients, the average age of the patients, the average wait time of the patients, okay? The average satisfaction score. I can further break this down into quarters, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And even though Victoria has kept this link, I don't need to reach out to her to interact with this dashboard. I can click on, let's say I want to see for only Q1, the number of patients. All I need to do, I'll deselect all, and I select only Q1, okay? And we can see the number of patients in Q1, 1,450. I can interact with it. I can see what she has been able to build. And this gives me a very clear insight into how good Victoria is. If I want to see Q1 and Q2, I come back here and I select Q2. And number of patients, Q1 plus Q2 is 4,388. I can see the average age, the average wait time, and number of patients by age, and all of the things she's built using Tableau. And there is no doubt in my mind that Victoria knows Tableau in and out, okay? And this is why portfolios are very important. She's also worked on a project for the airline industry. Redux Airline flight analysis using Excel. Express Tech food delivery service using Tableau. Working for a food delivery company. Let's see what that project looks like as well by clicking on the link, and it takes us into the project. So this project she's completed was a capstone project that she completed in Analytics. Capstone project. So like I mentioned earlier, project-based classes would help you build real-world skills, help you build a portfolio of projects that recruiters would see and know how good you are with those different skills. All right, so you can see what she's built with this and so many other projects. A project for Nestle product analytics using Power BI, Zenith Electronics using SQL. Let's check out the Nestle. Okay, so this is what she's built using Power BI, analyzing Nestle's products. All right, you have her SQL project using for a company called Zenith Electronics. So you have all these amazing projects in the portfolio. You must have this if you are serious about transitioning into the tech ecosystem. Once you have your portfolio, you've worked on projects, you've built your projects, what now separates you from the competition? So we've completed the technical parts. I'll take another 10 minutes, walk you through the softer parts, which we call the additional employability services that we offer. And this is the game changer. This is what has made us so successful in helping people to transition. All right. And we position this in 3 layers: layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. What is in layer 1 and what do we help you do? And what must you do to separate yourself from the competition? Number 1 is your CV. I can't even emphasize the importance of your CV. This is you in paper format. The recruiter would see this paper before they see you. So imagine you have a CV that does not make the cut. How do you get into the room? So you must know how to do something we call tailoring your CV. Okay, tailoring your CV using tools like ChatGPT, tools like Jobalytics, and Job Scan. All right. So when you see a job requirement you want to apply to, the job requires A, B, C, and D. You must tailor your CV to meet that requirement before you apply to the job. So there are a lot of people I see making this big mistake because you want to apply to so many jobs. You use one CV, apply to the 100 jobs, and you expect something miraculous to happen. You are likely going to keep on getting unfortunately. So we work with you to help you tailor your CV, show you, we have CV review sessions, show you how to tailor your CV, show you how to position your CV for the best type of results. And we give you the best CV templates when it comes to ATS. What is ATS? Applicant Tracking System or Applicant Tracking Software. And this is the software organizations use today to filter out your CVs. All right. The ATS would take the keywords from the job requirements and match those keywords to your CV. And if the keywords don't match by at least 80% or 85%, they would not invite you for a CV. So what's the best CV to go through the ATS system? It's called the Wharton CV format. The Wharton CV format. All right. So after showing you how to tailor your CV, how to tailor your previous experience to your current job role, and so on and so forth, we will also provide you with the Wharton CV templates for each role or each position you have decided to take. For example, as a data analyst, you have a data analyst CV, the standard data analyst CV in the Wharton CV format. And all you have to do is just modify that and you start using that as your own. All right. So we show you how to do this because the CV is absolutely important. That's the first thing the recruiter would see, followed by your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn is also critical. So once I've looked at your CV, wow, brilliant, beautiful CV, beautiful project in the portfolio. Now I want to check, have you worked as a data analyst before? Have you done anything data analytics? So I go to your LinkedIn. Are you a data analyst who talks about something totally unrelated on your LinkedIn? So your profile, your persona, and your social proof. Okay, so LinkedIn gives you social proof that you are who you say you are. You're not a data analyst on paper and something else on LinkedIn. Okay, and I'll take this opportunity to quickly go on LinkedIn and I'll show you. Muhyiddin, I showed you Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin recently got a job, and I'll show you Muhyiddin's profile, okay, on LinkedIn. So there is something I want to highlight and point out. So I'll just come here. I'll type in Muhyiddin. Okay. Muhyiddin is the gentleman who recently got a job in the UK. He lives in Lagos, Nigeria, works for the company remotely, earns in pounds and spends in Naira. Okay, if I click on Muhyiddin's profile, it brings out Muhyiddin. You can see Muhyiddin here. Okay, and if I scroll down, one of the first things you see is you both worked at Tenalytics. Why is this important? It's important because when the recruiter comes to your LinkedIn profile, they want to see this. They want to see that you have worked for a company on that particular role. You have worked as a data analyst, or you worked as a HR analyst or as a financial analyst for a company who works within the tech ecosystem. So you can see Muhyiddin, he worked on a contract role with Tenalytics for 8 months, data associate and data collection specialist and analyst. So he structured this very carefully. And if you look at his responsibilities as a data associate with Tenalytics, interpreting intelligence data quality to evaluate trends, performed ETL processes, created automated Power BI reports, conducted various types of data cleaning. And these are the things that attract recruiters to you that, wow, your LinkedIn is just as good as your CV. Let's invite this person for an interview. Recruiters also headhunt on LinkedIn and they search using LinkedIn to search for talents that they can recruit. And these are the things you would see. So as a learner with analytics, you would not see Muhyiddin come here and say, I was a learner or I was a trainee. No, you were working with us on a contract basis. Because guess what? The same skills you have acquired are the same skills anybody who is going to do the job would do. Would implement to do the job. So today, Muhyiddin works as a business development manager with BBX in the UK. And you can see here, he said, LinkedIn helped me get this job. Based on his profile, they had hunted him. And he reached out, I have an interview, I have a conversation with these people, and we worked with him during his interview. And if you look at his job responsibilities, what does he do for this company? Utilizing a data-driven approach, I leverage tools such as Salesforce, LinkedIn Sales Navigator to streamline leads generation, using data to streamline leads generation. All right, very, very interesting, fantastic role that Muhyiddin, currently, he got this job, if you see, February 2024, and the company is in Bournemouth in the UK. All right, fantastic, fantastic role. And if you check any other person's profile, Oluwadamilare, you heard from Oluwadamilare, right? If you go to Oluwadamilare's profile, you'd also see the same thing. You both worked at Tenalytics, because apart from these companies coming to your LinkedIn profile, they'd also reach out to us to ask, to get a reference, okay? Before they eventually confirm you, they would want to get a reference from us. So you'd see Damilare's profile as well, data analyst contract with Tenalytics. He hasn't updated with his most recent job. Like I mentioned, he just got the job last month. So you'd see his responsibilities: conducting data cleaning and processing using Excel, Power Query, and SQL, ETL on clients' data sources. And that was how he was able to land his job at the end of the day. All right, very, very important that you see how people leverage LinkedIn. So let's go back to our slide. I just needed to show you that very quickly, practically what you need to do. So you have Upwork optimization. This helps you work remotely. It's a platform where you can apply to freelance jobs, freelance job opportunities. You work from your location, work for companies abroad. Navigating the job market session. We had a session on, that was the day before yesterday. That was on Friday, where we brought in an immigration expert who came to speak about the express entry, for people who would like to move to Canada and how you can leverage STEM, which includes technology. The technology roles available that you can also take, note of. And these are some of the things we do during navigating the job market session. How do you understand the opportunities in Canada, in the UK, in the US? How do you apply to remote jobs, and so on and so forth? And of course, one of the most important is the interview preparation. How do you prepare for interviews? How do you know the right things to say when you get to interviews? People don't know this, that competency-based questions carries the highest marks. All right? Because nobody's hiring you for any other thing. They're hiring you for your competence. On day one, we want you to be able to do the job. So how good are you using these tools or technologies to solve problems? What have you done before? So people don't know how to answer questions that are competency-based. To answer questions that are competency-based, you have to leverage a technique called the STAR technique. You are familiar with the STAR technique or the STAR approach, but you don't know how to deploy it constructively to tell a story about the situation you were involved in, the task that needed to be carried out, the actions that you took, and the results for those actions. How do you structure your answer or your answers in a way that is constructive and at the same time compelling? We take the job description, the job requirements, and we break it down. We set up a session with you, and we simulate the interview with you, asking you questions that are likely going to come out. And then you go back. Some people would have to go back to prepare, and so on and so forth, okay? Even questions as simple as, tell me about yourself, introduce yourself. You'd find out that a lot of people fumble to introduce themselves, but there is a technique as well called the SEAT approach for introducing yourself. S for skills, you always start with your skills. You move to your experience. You talk about your achievements. And then you talk about your traits or your type of person. You can either use your traits or type of person. And your traits, who you are as an individual or the type of person you are, must always align to the core values of the organization you're trying to apply to. So how do you learn this type of techniques to solve problems? All right. So recommendation, I talked about that, very important. Every organization wants you to be associated with a reputable organization that can provide you with a reference and so on and so forth. That's level one. Level two is the weekly mentorship sessions and then on the job support. So you get a job, you need support because that you find yourself on the projects that seems a little bit difficult that you can achieve. We work with you to help to ensure that you are able to deliver on that project. And that's what we call on-the-job support. The mentorship sessions happens every single week, where you get to see me, the co-founder, other industry experts who will be working with you to ensure that your journey is seamless and you know what to do at every given turn and every given point in time. And finally, the final level is a guaranteed promise from us. Before 1 month after you complete your program, you will have gotten at least an interview. That's a promise from us. And this stems from the confidence we have in all the strategies, all the different things we have put in place to ensure that you get that job. You will have an interview, we'll prepare you for that interview, and you are well on your way to landing that job. Now, looking at the technical skills we talked about and the soft skills, or we call it the employability skills, this gives you the combined 50% for you to land a job. If you don't have a good CV, a good LinkedIn profile, you don't have an Upwork profile, you don't know the opportunities within the space, navigating the job market, you don't know how to sell yourself during interviews, you cannot get a reference from a previous employer like Analytics, you don't have a mentor, you eventually get the job, you cannot keep the job because you don't have somebody that can support you on the job, you're not likely going to get that job. Okay, I'll start to wrap up by walking you into the classroom because this is a very important part. So when you register with us, how does it feel to learn? What does your classroom look like? So I'll walk you through the classroom. We'll come back to talk about the next cohorts that start on the 4th of May and what you need to do to be a part of this cohort and the amazing discounts that we have available for you. All right, so let's quickly get into the classroom, 5 minutes, and then we'll move into the cost of the program, what it takes for you to be a part of the program, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the classroom. Now, when you join any of the programs, all right, depending on the program you have decided to register for, so let's say data analytics or data science, and I can see all the classes because I'm an admin, I'm a teacher in all these classrooms. But let's say you register for data analytics. Let's go to data analytics January. All right, data analytics January. So we'll look at the data analytics, we'll look at maybe the HR, and then we'll move on to the final part of our session. And I would love to hear from you to take your questions. Okay, now, when you get into a classroom, your classroom looks like this, and your classroom is where everything that has to do with your program, you find that in the classroom. It's your number one repository of your information, your slides, your data, every single thing that you will have to do or you will need during the program, okay? Now, I want to take you first of all to the important materials. There was a mentorship session last week on salary negotiation. Like I said, these are the things that we put in place to ensure you know the right thing to do. People don't know that you never accept the first offer of a role. When you get an offer, you want to negotiate, all right? So how do you negotiate salary? We walk you through in a practical real life session, a practical live session on how to do this. This happened last week, but I want to walk you through the important materials that you have in your classroom, okay? Number one, you have your job material. What does this mean? So you see all our participants and their LinkedIn profile. As a data analyst, you must know what to put on your summary. All right, so we provide you, after your LinkedIn optimization session, we provide you with these documents. And these documents shows you clearly how to structure your LinkedIn profile, okay? And also, you have the job roles you can apply to. People don't know this, that as a data analyst, I can also apply to business intelligence analyst roles. I can apply to risk analyst roles. I can apply to sales analyst roles. I can apply to IT analyst roles. I can apply to data privacy roles, database analyst roles, and so on and so forth. And these are the things we bring to your notice when you become a part of the program. We give you links to job websites, where to apply and how to apply, all right? I talked about the CV templates, which of course is the Watson CV format for everybody who joins our program, a standard template for a data analyst. You would have learned how to use AI, ChatGPT, and so on, JobScan, to tailor your CV to jobs you'll be applying to, all right? You also have where to book your interview. You have an interview coming up. All you have to do, you don't need to speak to anybody. Come in here, click on any of these links. You can book an interview with Mohammed, book an interview with Jennifer. Okay, so depending on the time, for example, there is a date available on the 18th, but 18th, you want an earlier date, you go to the next link and you're likely going to find an earlier date. So you click on the 18th, I want my interview to be at 11 a.m. Click on next, enter your name, enter your email, and your job, the job description that would help me prepare for that session. Once you click on schedule, you will have somebody join you on that date to work with you to prepare you for your interview. Okay, and we have a job application tracker. So these are the important materials, all right? Job application tracker is how you track the jobs you're applying to, because that's a very, very important aspect of the program. Okay, now let's go to what we mean by project-based learning. So this is the January cohort. So they've done quite a lot. So you see the class is very packed, very full. Your first stuff, the first thing you do in data analytics is problem solving. I talked about that earlier, right? Problem solving. Now, the beauty is, if you miss this class is the first thing you do, which is on a Saturday. Sundays, you have your watch me do it. You don't have a live class on Sundays. So you join the problem solving, or you miss this problem solving class. You have your recording. All you need to do is come to the class recording, click on the link, and everything that happened in class, you also get to be a part of it. You have the slides. You go to the slide, you click on the slides to see what was done. And you see that the very first thing you start with is what? What is data? You don't start by jumping into building dashboards, jumping into Excel, which is what so many people do. You have to start from the fundamental. What is data, types of data, and then you move all the way down to more things that are, from, easy, like moving to easy to intermediate and so on and so forth. So once you are done with this class on a Saturday, on Sunday, you have your Excel Watch Me Do It video. And I explained the Watch Me Do It. The Watch Me Do It videos are simply bite-sized videos, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You watch these videos, you learn the Excel environment, you learn how to do paste special, you learn how to do basic formatting, you learn how to do conditional formatting. You learn all these things on Excel on a Sunday at your own convenience. And the following class, you have a live session on Excel. All right, you have a live session on Excel the following Saturday. On Sunday, you have another Watch Me Do It video, and that's how it goes. And I'll just talk about the drop-in session. The drop-in session is where if you missed anything on a Saturday or you missed a class and you need additional help that you can't solve on your own, you need somebody to join you live to help you solve this problem. The drop-in sessions happens every single week, where a data coach or your trainer, your facilitator will join a live call with you one-on-one to look at the problems that you have. Maybe you missed the class the previous weekend, okay? Or you were in that class, you have an assignment, you've tried the assignment, you cannot get it. You sent a message in your WhatsApp group and you still cannot solve the problem from the solutions provided. You have a drop-in session. So for somebody who is a beginner, this is the best thing you want to do if you have any problem. You want to join a drop-in session. It happens during the week, usually every Wednesdays in the evenings. But the timing can also vary depending on when you have that problem and you have somebody to work with you eventually. Okay, you have your second Excel class, and let me show you what it means to have a project-based class. So if I go to this class material on Excel, the second Excel class, you will be working on a project for a company called Agri Limited. It's a supply chain analysis case study. And here you'll be working as a data and insights analyst. So all the things you've learned on Excel, you're going to deploy them to solving this problem that the company has. Okay? You would learn how to use VLOOKUP, index match, XLOOKUP, and so many other functions to solve problems. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. So now let's go to the HR. If I go to the HR analytics, same thing, same structure. You see the employability resources, link to book an interview, HR CV templates, job application tracker. Now let's go to the HR classes and let's see the type of projects they're going to work on, okay? Now, going to the first HR class, after you've done your Excel, problem solving, Power BI, SQL, you'd work on real world projects. This is for employee demography, analysis, all right? You'd work for this company to help them, first of all, understand the role of HR in this company, importance of monitoring employee demography, okay? And then you start solving problems for this company. You have your data dictionary, you have the case study, and this is the dashboard you're going to build at the end of the day. So you're working on projects that you will take and add to your portfolio, all right? And that's why it's very important to be in a project-based class. Just before I leave here, I want to show you one last thing, which is your internship project. I'll show you the project that the HR analyst would work on. It's a 2-minute video. You would see this project and how amazing the project is. And this internship is done by both the HR analyst and also the data scientist. So you're not working alone. It is a collaboratory effort. You collaborate with other professionals to solve problems, okay? So let's go to this internship and I'll show you the type of projects you work on. Absolutely phenomenal projects, all right? So I'm just going to click on the YouTube link. So first of all, this is proprietary data. You will never find this anywhere else. These are experiences that I've had, the co-founder, and other industry experts. We took their real life experience and we curated projects out of them. So listen to this project you're going to work on, employee turnover project as a HR analyst together with the data scientist. And from there, we'll go back to wrap up our session for today.
Welcome to our Employee Turnover Analysis project. As an intern joining our team, you will play a vital role in contributing to our efforts to understand and mitigate employee turnover within our organization. This onboarding material will provide you with an overview of the project, its objectives, and your role in supporting its success. Employee turnover poses significant challenges for organizations, including increased recruitment costs, loss of productivity, and potential negative impacts on company culture. Our organization is committed to understanding and mitigating employee turnover to ensure a stable and engaged workforce. The Employee Turnover Analysis Project aims to leverage data analytics techniques to identify underlying factors contributing to employee turnover within our organization. Employee turnover rates are higher than desired within our organization, leading to disruptions in operations and potential talent gaps. We lack a comprehensive understanding of the factors driving employee turnover, making it challenging to implement targeted retention strategies. Therefore, there is a pressing need to analyze employee data to identify key drivers of turnover and develop effective retention initiatives. Employee turnover refers to the rate at which employees leave a company and need to be replaced. Our project aims to analyze the factors contributing to employee turnover within our organization and develop strategies to reduce turnover rates. By leveraging data analytics techniques, We will explore patterns and trends in employee demographics, performance, satisfaction, and other relevant factors to identify actionable insights for HR decision-making. As an intern, you will have the opportunity to contribute to various aspects of the project, including data collection, preprocessing, analysis, and reporting. You will work closely with our HR analysts and data scientists to gather and clean HR data, conduct exploratory data analysis, build predictive models, and generate actionable insights. Your contributions will help us better understand the drivers of employee turnover and develop effective retention strategies. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go.
All right, so you see that's the way you learn when you join us at Analytics. Amazing project. As a HR analyst, we are trying to identify the drivers of turnover within a company. You work together with the data scientists, and these projects are the things that will give you the knowledge of what it takes to do the job real time. And when you have questions during the interviews, you don't stutter. You're not confused on what to say because you've done it before, right? So I'm just going to go back to my slide and we start to wrap up the session for today. I apologize. I have a terrible cold, so you would see that come up from time to time when I speak. But I'm sure you can hear me clearly. So the next cohort starts on the 4th of May, 2024. And we have an amazing discount. We call it the early bird discount for the first 20 people to take advantage of the discounts that we have ongoing. Because for us, we want to encourage as many people as possible to get into the tech ecosystem, learning from the best in the industry. Okay, so it doesn't matter the program you're joining us, the data analytics, HR analytics, or financial analytics, rather than pay the full amount of $750 if you're paying in dollars, or £625 if you're paying in pounds, or €730 if you're paying in euros, or 1,125 Canadian dollars, or 900,000 naira, you get an amazing 33% discount off, and you get to pay this discounted amount of $600 instead of $750, £500 instead of $625, €475 instead of $730, $750 Canadian dollars instead of 1,125, and just 600,000 naira instead of 900. And the amazing part is you can also make your payments in two installments to make it easier for you to get your journey started. And what do you need to do if you're making payments in installments? If you're paying, say, in dollars, for example, to get into the class, before the class starts on the 4th of May, you need to pay the first installment of $450, and then you balance up the $150 1 month after the program commences. Same with pounds, you pay £350 to get your journey started, and you balance up with £150 before the program commences, and so on and so forth. If you're paying in naira, you get to pay 450,000 naira and 150,000 1 month after the program commences. The first installment is paid on or before the 30th of this month of April, because the program starts on the 4th. So you need time where you get your welcome kit, and your welcome kit contains all the things you need. How to install Excel, how to install Power BI, how to download and install Tableau, how to install PostgreSQL, and so on and so forth. So first payments, the first installment for you to get into the class will be paid on or before the 30th, and the balance payment is paid on or before the 30th of May, 2024. And I'll show you how to make payments for those of you who would want to join the program. All right. And all you need to do for those who want to make payments is you click on the link. My colleagues will share this. And when you also receive the slide, you'd also get this as well. All you need to do is click on this link, and it takes you into the Enrollment Center. The Enrollment Center is where you get access to all the program brochures, okay? So you want to check the nitty-gritty of every single aspect of the program. All you need to do is click on this link and it takes you to the program brochure. So you can see the data analytics, for example. What am I going to learn in Excel, in Power BI, and so on? All right? Then you can either pay by doing the direct transfer to any of our bank account details. If you are transferring in pounds, you have the pound account details. The dollars, you have the dollar account details. Canadian dollars, euros, or naira, you have the naira account details as well. And if you want to pay using your credit card or your debit card, you can also do that. Let's take, for example, I want to join the data analytics or financial analytics. I come in here, I select data analytics, and I click on the link. It takes me to where I'll need to make payments. Now, the beauty of this is I need to balance up my payments, the first installment on the 30th of April, right? Now, I have my payments here in pounds, and the currency would depend on your location, all right? So I have mine in pounds because I used to live in the UK, recently moved to Canada in January this year. So you would see my amount is in pounds, the currency is in pounds, and the pound amount is 350 first installment, 150 second installment, right? But I want to secure my discount today because it's for the first 20, and I want to be a part of the first 20. And the first installment of 350, I have 200. I can secure my discount with 200, or if I have the 350, I can secure the discount with the 350. But let's assume I want to secure my discount with the 200. And before the 30th, I complete the 150 that would, give me the first installment. So today I want to pay 200. I select 200. I click on reserve a seat. Okay. I enter my name. Adeza Suleiman. It's an email. I enter my phone number and I click on pay with card. Okay, ensure you enter your phone number, ensure you enter the email where you would like to receive your receipts. Okay, so I enter my card details, and when I'm done, I confirm payment and I pay. I would receive an automated receipt into my email. That receipt would contain a link for you to register and enter all your other details. Okay, and you would receive a welcome kit 1 week before the program commences. And the welcome kit, like I said earlier, contains everything that you need for the program. Your learning timeline, your program schedule, you have how to download and install all the tools you'll be using, and so on and so forth. Okay, now, if you have all the money you want to pay at once, you can also do that by simply just entering the full amount that you'd like to pay. And like I mentioned earlier, depending on your location, if you're paying with your card or you're paying with your credit or debit card, you would see the corresponding currency for that location. If you've done a direct transfer, let's assume I've done a direct transfer to the Naira account detail. It's a Wema Bank account. The account name is Mainstack Analytics Payment Center. That's the account name. Once you've made your payment, take a screenshot of that payment as evidence of payment, okay? Once you've taken the screenshot, come in here where you have upload your receipt. Click on this link that says upload your receipt, and it will take you to a form where you fill in your details. You fill in your details here, okay? You enter your email, okay? Adeza Analytics.io. Enter your email, click on next, enter all the details that you need. Did you make the first installment? Did you pay the full amount? You fill in all those details, click on next, next, next until you have completed your payment. Okay, now some people would ask the question, I'm just going to click on next. I want to show you something very important. Some people would ask the question that I'm not sure if I should do the data analytics, or I should do the HR, or I should do the financial. Which one do you think, Adeza? We always have one-on-one sessions on Tuesdays. The best thing you want to do is secure the discount, take advantage of the discount available, secure your slots. And when it's time for you to select which program are you registering for, okay? If you know the program you want to register for, you can select maybe financial analytics, you click on next. But if you're not sure, you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, you select, I need to speak with a professional. And when you do this, we invite you for a one-on-one session to help you answer that question and help you take a decision. Okay? One last thing I'll show you, and then I'll start taking your questions, is when do you want to start? Because people ask, oh, is the program starting in May the only program you have available? We've had programs from January up until this moment, and would have from May till the end of the year. The difference is the discounts would not always be there, okay? So I want to take advantage of the discount today, but I don't want to start in May because I have commitments. I want to start in June. All you need to do is, when selecting when you want to start, it's either you select the 4th of May or you select the 8th of June. So we have another cohort that will start on the 8th of June. You select that and you complete the form, submit the form, and then you get your journey started. Okay, so I'll just take a breather. And for any reason, if you want to reach out to us, you want to call, you want to send a message, send a WhatsApp message, you can reach out to us on any of the details on the screen. You can take a screenshot, follow us across all our social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on X, on Twitter, on Facebook, and most especially on YouTube, because you get to see the amazing feedback and testimonials from people like you. Okay, so I'll take a pause at this moment and I would love to take questions. So if you have questions, please feel free. You can either raise your hand up, just like we interacted earlier. I'll call you up to unmute yourself, or you can send your question in the chat. You can send your question in the chat. Somebody's asking, what of cybersecurity? Is the same fee as above, okay, or the same fee that you see on your screen. However, today is not for cybersecurity. Today is for data analytics, financial analytics, and HR analytics. So look out for the session on cybersecurity if you want to join that session. We will have that in the coming week, okay? I want to do data engineering. It doesn't matter. The fees are the same. The only fee that is different is for the Scrum Master program. Data engineering, financial analytics, business analysis are all the same amounts. And you can all secure your slots because we have the 33%. And let me tell you what typically happens. Right? And I'll give you an example using the April cohort. So let me just go there and show you very quickly the April cohorts, okay? The cohort that started on the 6th of April. Let me go to Classroom. Let me go to April, and I'll show you what typically happens. So we have slots available for very few people to take advantage of the scholarship or the discount. Most people delay. So let's go to the April, all right? So remember, we have the EU and the NA. The EU class is for those who are in specific regions. You're in the UK, you are in Nigeria, you have similar time zones. You'd see EU. But when you see NA, NA is for North America, Canada, US, and so on. So let's say the EU class for data analytics for April. And if I go to people, I click on people, you'd see 52, right? Out of the 50, not everybody took advantage of discounts. If you go to the NA class, you'd see a similar number in NA. Okay, if you go to the NA, you'd see a similar number. 48, 52, 48, that's over 100. Okay, now it's about 100 thereabouts. Now, what would you realize? A lot of people, the procrastinate. It's human nature. And at the end of the day, the discount is gone and they start begging, oh, can you give me the discount, and so on and so forth. So the best thing you want to do is Don't wait for the slots to be over and then you start to beg for opening up the scholarship for you. All right. Take advantage. If it's something you want to do, it's something you've always wanted to do. You've joined our masterclass. There is somebody I've seen here since October 2023. I remember him. He's been joining every single masterclass and he's here again today. It's time to take that decision to get started. All right. Else you just find out that it's the end of 2024 and you still haven't started out that journey. Okay. So I'm going to take questions now. I'll first start from the chat. And if you have questions you want to speak, please raise your hand. I'll ask you to unmute yourself and we get to hear from you. Henry is saying, I'm asking because I'm on a shift duty. Again, if I'm not able to grab the class on my own, how do I really get it? I think I explained that part already, Henry. I'm from Nigeria and I'm working, but my work may be clashing with the program. What do I do? So the best thing, it's not new. Your situation is not new to us, Henry. We have so many people like you, all right? People working during the weekend, they work shifts and so on and so forth. Now, we have classes for you that either start from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. your time or 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. your time. Again, breaking the program down into different regions, all right? Now, if none of those timings fit your schedule, then I don't know, that will be a little bit more difficult. But what you can do and what some people have done, which is, I won't sugarcoat it, it's a more difficult way for you to go, but we've had people do it and they've been successful. You watch the recordings because every class is recorded. Every live class is recorded, just like this session is recorded, and you will all get a recording. Every class is recorded. You always go back to the recording, watch the recording, practice what was done in class. And like I mentioned, the drop-in session is something you don't want to miss. For somebody like you, Henry, let me see. I know I touched on the drop-in session. I know I touched on the drop-in session. Let me just look for that. Yeah, so let's go to classwork, for example. So this is a new class. They've not had any drop-in session yet. But I know I touched on that. I'm not sure the tab I opened anymore. Let me see. Okay, so here, if you come all the way up, you'd see the drop-in session. Okay, the drop-in session happens every single week. Every single week you have the drop-in session. So if you missed out on a class and you need additional support, join the drop-in session and you would have somebody work with you personally on that. Yewande is asking, do you refund assuming one pays and cannot join the class? Absolutely. If you pay, you can't start the class, you have a full refund, 100%. You would see the terms and conditions when you're filling the form, okay? The refund policy, everything is there. So you read it, accept. If you don't accept, you click on I don't accept. Let me just show you very quickly. Yewande, you can see the Analytics terms and conditions, okay? So the refund policy is there and so on and so forth, okay? So you pay for the program, you cannot start the program, you're ill or you have other commitments, we give you 100% refund. But do well, ensure you read the terms and conditions. And once you read, if there's something there that is a little bit confusing, you don't understand, you can easily reach out to any of the team members here. So everything is there on the form when you're filling, okay? So let me take more questions. The IWD scholarship is Water Under the Bridge by now, or SATO. So it's a scholarship where we encourage women to get into tech. We had that in the month of March, which was also a 50% scholarship to 300 women to get into tech. So that is a scholarship that is far gone. Osas to say that I have been joining the masterclass since early 2023. I took advantage, okay, and I'm glad I did. Absolutely. Good to have you here, Osas, and nice to see you again. What's the minimum amount to secure a space? So again, the minimum amount is totally dependent on you. to a very large extent, okay? But what I always advise Jumai is if you are paying in dollars, for example, it's 600, you can pay 200, you know, I have to balance up 150 before the class commences. The most important part is the first installment is completed before the program starts. Let me see. I think I answered Henry's question already. I answered Year One Day, who asked about refund policy. I'm interested in business analysis. Joy and Nina, who is interested in data engineering. I think I also answered questions around that. The fees are the same. You can take advantage of the discounts we have running at the moment and be in any of those programs. Okay. I'm just checking for more questions. I think I've pretty much answered the questions I have here. What's the cost of the course? Evelyn is asking. So you have that on the screen at the moment, okay? The discounted amount is available for the first 20 people who get to pay, all right? So that's what you want to take advantage of. And you can pay in 2 installments, 1, 2, depending on the currency you will be paying in. The IWD is 100% on discretion. So we always seek for funding for that. Okay, it's once in a year. So the one for this year is gone already. That happened in March. And if we don't get funded, we don't do IWD scholarship. So we had a funding of about $100,000, and that gave us the opportunity to run the scholarship for this year. It was an initiative we started in 2023. And you can read about the IWD scholarship by just going online, okay, and just do a search, Analytics, IWD scholarship. So let's see what pops up. IWD scholarship, it was on Tech Cabal, okay, so if I just add in Tech Cabal, I know the link is somewhere on the slide. Okay, the link is somewhere on the slide. But if you just do a search, Analytics IWD Scholarship Tech Cabal, you'd see the Tech Cabal article that was posted in 2023 about the scholarship. And there it is. Okay, so if you click on this, it takes you into EdTech platform, Analytics grants tech scholarship to 300 women. This was last year, 2023. We also had one this year, and it's all dependent on funding. So last year we extended to 320 people, and they took advantage of the scholarship. It's a 50% scholarship across all our programs. Okay. So Harry's saying, sorry, I'm taking back slightly. I was attracted by Scrum. So, Henry, what I want you to do is keep an eye for the Scrum Masters, masterclass. We had a session yesterday. We had another one on Friday. On Friday, for example, we talked about all the programs. Okay, but we have masterclasses on selected programs from time to time. So the session on Scrum would come up. If you give me 1 second, I'll just tell you when that would come up this week. So I'm also going to have a masterclass on Scrum and all the other programs that we have coming up. Okay. Just give me 1 second and I'll let you know when we'd have the Scrum Master program. Okay, so that's coming up next week, Saturday, or this Saturday rather. On Saturday, we have another one, which would also include the Scrum Master program. All right. Oh, so sorry about that, Oluwabusayo. I really wish to join this class, but I can't. And this is the first time I'm really having interest in something I see online so much. So what I can advise you to do, Oluwabusayo, is we have programs that would run up until the end of the year. All right. The only difference, like I mentioned, is the discount is not always going to be available All right. But if you can't, I've seen people who couldn't join when it was way cheaper, but eventually joined when they had to pay the full amount, but they were able to save money to get their journey started. So that's one option you can look at. Okay. So you might not join the May cohort or the June cohort, but you can join in July. My advice would be for you to get something done in 2024. Get your journey started in 2024. Okay, and follow us across all our platforms so that you always get first-hand information on what we do. Okay, when will you open up the opportunity to pay? The opportunity is open already. You can take advantage of it now. Yeah, one day it is 100% open. And as we start to wrap up our session today, I'm going to quickly take you to our YouTube page, and I want you to subscribe to our YouTube page because you have so much information there. And even Henry, who is asking about the Scrum, all you need to do is go to YouTube, type in Analytics. All right, type in Analytics, click on Analytics. Okay, you'd see our logo, click on the logo, and it takes you to our page. The first thing you want to do is to what? Subscribe. All right. Once you've done that, for somebody like Henry, you want to understand what the Scrum Master program is all about. 2 days ago, I had a session. You can see the video here. It says a roadmap to selecting a career as a data analyst, a Scrum Master, or a business analyst. Watch this video even before you even join another masterclass. So our YouTube page is stacked with so much information that you can get so many things here for free. All right. You can also see yesterday we had a session, last week, everything you need to know about contract jobs, the key differences between data analysts, data scientists, getting started in cybersecurity. And these are live sessions, just like this one we're having today. All right. And the session on the express entry, where we brought in professionals, immigration experts, immigration consultants, this held on Friday. The tech skills you need for your express entry journey into Canada. Everything is also here. The testimonials of all the amazing people who have gotten jobs, you want to hear from them, they're all here as well. Come in here, click on testimonials. It takes you to the testimonial page and all the other videos, practical sessions that shows you how to use Python, use Excel. And so many other tools, you also get them here. Okay. So I'm going to end my session today by playing a video for you, and then I would okay, I'm just joining. Please explain briefly. So Eric, you're going to get the recording for today's session and you have the opportunity to rewatch. I don't get the link, or probably I'm not looking. So yeah, one day the link will be shared with everybody. It's currently shared in the charts right now. If you look into the Zoom charts, and the slides for my session today would also be shared. So you will be able to look into it. These are testimonials of phenomenal professionals who have started their journey by joining a masterclass just like you have joined today. And they've done amazingly well in their career path. Business analysts, data engineers, financial analysts, HR analysts. And I'm going to play one person's video and I'll use that to end our session today. And I want you to listen to Ikmat. I know I had mentioned Ikmat when I started. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom, a full housewife, and she got 2 offers after completing our data analytics program. And I want you to learn how she was able to navigate her journey with us. And once this video is done, I'll be wrapping up the session today. Okay, so let's listen to Ikmat.
I get paid $25 an hour working from home just for reading scripts into my phone. That's right.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, we have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because he was like, he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far. And that's the very good advantage. So yes, Analytics for the win.
So as I start to wrap up the session today, you heard from Ikmat, you heard from Oluwadamilare. Follow us on YouTube. You get to see and hear from so many other professionals that have started their journey. Now, you might not be starting yourself, but you have a brother, you have a sister, you have a colleague, you have a friend that you think can benefit from this. Share the message with them so that they get started. And follow us across all our platforms. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask us. We are always here for you. We're going to have multiple sessions across all the other programs. I know Henry has been asking, but you also have the opportunity to even watch the sessions that happened last week. Just like other people would watch the session that you have joined, even though they did not participate today, because we're going to upload it on YouTube. All right. I wish you a productive week ahead, and I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. And if you've gotten value for your time here today, it's a time well spent. Type in a yes as we wrap up this session. You've had a good time. You've had a fantastic session today. Type in a yes into the chat. Thanks, Audu. Ikechukwu, thank you. Bako, Osas, Kafayat, Hakim, Henry, Sunday, iPhone. And ensure you put all the things I've taught you today into practice. Technical, employability skills, your CV, your LinkedIn, portfolios, those are very, very important, and preparing for interviews. Until we see another time, Thank you very much, guys, for joining, and I hope to see you in class. Register, secure your slots. If you want a one-on-one session, we're going to have that. We'll invite people on Tuesday for one-on-one sessions, and we will just be helping you get your journey started. Thank you very much, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers, everyone.